Hey everyone, we are back for another week of exciting rehearsals. This week we are crazy fundraising. We'll also find out what made Ricardo say.
I have seen it done with cows and with chickens.
And why Joey said.
I was nearly in tears when he shared his what are we doing, because it resounded so much with what I see every day.
All this and more, so get out on the field and we will see you back on the sidelines for this week's episode of On a Water Break.
8 off the mat and go.
Welcome to On a Water Break, the podcast where we talk everything marching arts.
Everyone, bring it in. It's time for a water break.
Welcome to another episode of Season 2 of On a Water Break, the podcast where we talk about everything you and your friends are talking about at rehearsal on a water break. I'm Steve McCarrick. And we are deep into Bandtober. One of the things that is on everyone's mind nowadays is how all this creative stuff gets paid for. Well, we have an interview with Greg Mills from Taft High School, who did something kind of crazy to get his students motivated to fundraise, and it actually worked out in a huge way. That interview is coming up, but first, let's see who we got on the sidelines this week. Got Bobbey, 2 shows in a row. Bobbey, how you doing?
Hi, everybody. How are you doing tonight? It's good to see all of you.
Oh, I'm doing good. I don't think I've been on a call with you in a while, Bobbey. I feel like I usually see you more in real life at different East Coast things than I do on a water break, honestly. But
probably. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
What's the craziest fundraiser that you've ever been involved in?
I was thinking about this today. I don't know that I've seen crazy fundraisers. I feel like the crazy fundraising maybe happens in other parts of the country, but one that I was surprised that worked really well that I saw and participated in was at the beginning of the summer giving all of the kids a Pringles can, and they got to have the Pringles as a treat. But once it was empty, they were to spend the whole summer filling the Pringles can with their spare change and all their family's spare change. So when you come home, you empty your pockets, you throw your money in the Pringles can. So when they come back for band camp, all of those kids and staff bring back their full Pringles cans full of spare change. I was surprised. It raised a few $1,000s, and it was as easy as could be. And you got free Pringles.
That's awesome, actually. A few $1,000s, that goes us like so far with a couple high schools. That's crazy. Yes. I never would have thought of something, honestly, so simple. That's awesome. Well, we've got a lot more different ways that we're going to be fundraising throughout the show, but let's get on here to another guest clinician this week. We've got Ricardo here, and you have internet, Ricardo?
Thank God. It has been a month without internet and running from hurricanes. And I finally can sit down on my couch or lie in my bed and watch the Golden Girls to fall asleep with air conditioning, and I am very happy right now.
My goodness. How was it? Was your house okay? And like, how was your neighborhood? Where were you?
So, fortunately, I live on the spine of Pinellas County, which is St. Petersburg, for those of you who are geography savvy. But Pinellas County is a peninsula on the peninsula of Florida. So I'm like literally 10 minutes from the beach and 10 minutes from the bay. During Helene, the water rose a lot, but because I live on the spine of the county, I'm about 34 feet up in elevation. So if my house floods from storm surge, then the entire county will be wiped out anyway.
Yeah, I was about to say 34 feet in Florida is insane.
It's high. It's like a mountain. I live on a mountain.
It's like the Rocky Mountains. Yeah.
Right. So we were fortunately fine. We evacuated for both storms. The first storm was because of a death in the family. So it kind of worked out. My grandmother was trying to make sure that I was safe. So she made me come home for her funeral before the storm hit. For Milton, the last few days, we left again. I had to go to a design meeting for the academy, but my husband took the puppy dogs and went to Atlanta, and I went and met him there. As the storm was happening, but everything is fine. There's just a lot of down trees right now. I actually did not get power back until like the Tuesday before Milton hit. So they had already rebuilt the power like kind of structure around in my neighborhood. So
Didn't Milton hit on like a Wednesday?
well, okay, so like a week before that. So like a week before
okay.
Milton, I
Right.
just got my power back.
Thank
So
goodness.
because they went and redid the power grid in my neighborhood, everywhere else in the county was without power except for my little neighborhood because our power grid was stronger. So not to laugh at anybody else's misfortune, but I lost all of my food in the first storm and we just decided not to buy groceries. So I had a completely empty refrigerator just in case if my power went out from Milton. And when I returned home on Saturday, I had power, but no food. So.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. Never would have expected that outcome in the storm.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's been a crazy month. We'll talk more about that later, though.
Yeah, I'm glad that you're here and you're safe and your home is safe, Ricardo. So that's good.
Thanks, friend.
But why don't you tell us a little bit? What's the craziest fundraising you've been around?
You ready for this?
I'm ready. Hit me with it.
Poop bingo.
Oh my God. They used to do that in my neighborhood.
Yeah, so it can be done. I have seen it done with cows and with chickens. Cow patty bingo or
Cow pie bingo.
Yeah. Super, super easy fundraiser to do because all you need is an animal. And fortunately, I am at a school where they have lots of different animals for the FFA program. But you just grid off a field. You put some numbers down on the field or just stick them in the ground. And then you have an animal of some sort just walk around and you sell the squares and people, spend $5, $10, $15, $20 on it. And you give them a prize of like $100 or so out of that. And you just let the animal do its business. And, you give away $100, but you have made, $5,000 or $6,000 in just that. And all it costs you is just a little bit of hay and maybe slightly a little bit of your dignity, but it's fun.
This was serious business in my town growing up. I think that the squares used to go for like $100 and people would stand around watching, just waiting.
Oh yeah, it's huge. And so listeners, I know that you think of me as very cutesy and very demure. But I am from the country and I'm used to cows because I literally have cows in my yard at home. But I had never heard of it until I moved to Georgia. And that was the first time. And this was like in a nice ritzy-ish area of Cobb County, Georgia. And this was their fundraiser. And they were like, yeah, this is like huge. We make a ton of money on this. I'd never heard of it before that. And now it's like, I hear it all the time. It's great.
That's great. I'm going to lead the charge at my high school.
Go for it.
Giddy up. All right.
Easy money. Just a little bit of poop. That's it.
That ain't hurt nobody.
Already, I'm preferring Pringle cans to poop. I'm sorry. I'm on that boat right now.
You don't have to touch the poop, money. Joey. It's just the animal's doing what an animal's gonna do. I mean, everybody and everything poops. Okay, guys.
Yeah. What do you got against the poop biz?
Stop sharing my business.
All right. Well, on that note, Austin, glad that you're on the show, man. It's been a while since you were on here with me, at least, but you were on with Joey and Greg Mills.
Feels like WGI since the last time I saw you, Steven.
Yeah, probably. That's what most people say. I go into hiding and become a recluse until the following audition season gets going.
Yeah, I don't blame you there.
But did you just had a cool interview with Joey and Greg Mills, and we're going to get into that in a little bit. But did you learn anything cool in that interview that you wanted to just anything you could drop on us?
Yeah, Greg. I mean, Greg is really great. He's running a fantastic program over at Taft. You'll hear more about that in a little bit. But I mean, one thing that I was like super about with Greg is that his willingness for his students was like, it was like off the charts for even most directors. He's like, I'm willing to make money. He's like, I'm willing to make money happen, whatever it takes. You'll learn a little bit more about that coming up. But that was one thing that I really admired from Greg. And I was like, well, I think we could all be a little bit more like him. Be like, even though I know a lot of us are like really, really dedicated to our students. I know I am. I know everyone else here is, but like the willingness to, how do I say this? I guess alter body parts is definitely that's the best way I can think of it. The willingness to alter body parts in order to make money for his students. It's not as bad as you think, I promise.
Well, you've got me sold now. I'm going to have to sit and keep listening to the podcast. And then at the end of the podcast, I'm probably going to have to rate 5 stars and subscribe to On a Water Break.
I will be doing that as well.
Yeah, but surely I'll have to listen and hear that great interview later when we get to it down the line. But Joey, you certainly know a lot about fundraising. Well, can you tell us what maybe we can expect from this interview that's coming up?
Well, the biggest thing is like Austin already said, Mr. Mills' commitment to his students is pretty incredible, and to kind of put something on the line to get an unachievable goal at the beginning. Thoughts of an unachievable goal, and have that as like the catalyst for how big of a donation amount that they got. I think is so cool, and the fact, I mean, like you'll hear in the podcast, but essentially he dangled a little carrot, as he said, and was like, I dare you to hit this goal," and they just smashed it. They just smashed it, and that's so cool. The big thing, my biggest takeaway was, and I won't spoil it for the listeners, but his "What Are We Doing" really resounds with a lot of band directors. I work with a lot of band directors across the United States, and I get to sit in these band rooms and watch band directors do more than music education day in and day out, and spend 10, 12 hours at the school doing more than just teaching kids how to play their instrument. And so his "What Are We Doing" is pretty incredible, and I think it's important to talk about, and I'm hoping we can talk more on the podcast about important issues like this. But like I said, I'm not going to spoil it for the listeners. That was just I was nearly in tears when he shared his "What Are We Doing," because it resounded so much with what I see every day. So
wow.
That was my biggest takeaway.
Wow, it's awesome. Yeah, I'm excited to check it out then, because it sounds like you guys just had like a really fruitful conversation, like a lot that band directors could take away from it, but also just a lot of cool stuff that everyone can relate to as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to get into that later. But for now, we have a guest clinician joining us tonight who is ready to talk fundraising as well. Everyone, welcome back to the show, Alicia Sharp.
Hi.
Hello, Alicia. So I know you've done your 32 counts before, but maybe could you catch our listeners up with like a 16 count intro to the phrase or something like that?
Yeah, it's been a few months since I came on. So I'm Alicia Sharp. I'm from East Tennessee. I'm a color guard person turned program designer / designer. Program coordinator / designer, and choreographer a number of groups aside from my full-time job now.
Great. Yeah, that's awesome. And one thing that I see here that I'm really interested to learn a bit more about, Jeremy has, in exact quotes, something about some weird ass fundraising. I feel like he wants me to delve.
Nothing here. I'm gonna say is gonna beat Ricardo's. Like, oh my gosh, crazy thing. But I did. I started out in Winter Guard marching a very, very poor independent A group when I was in middle school, and we did Bless Your Heart car washes in the winter. We waited for like the coldest weekends or when there was a chance of snow to get out on like a main highway and do car washes. And the first one we ever did, I think we only washed 2 cars, and they were both like personal vehicles, but we made over $500 because people just pitied us, and that works in the South.
Did they say, oh, bless your heart. Y'all are out here in this awful weather.
Exactly. And we had to say, like, oh, we're trying to raise money to go to world championships. And it works in the South. Totally.
Oh, bless your heart, Shug.
Yeah. So all of the money and none of the labor?
Pretty much. And
That's a win.
we had blow up costumes. I don't remember how or where they came from, but we had someone that like dressed up as a giant smoothie on the side of the road and spun a flag. Anything to
And
get
only
attention.
2 people stopped for the
right?
smoothie?
Yeah. No, only 2 cars were washed. Only 2 cars. We had plenty of
Okay.
people stop, but no one
Okay.
wanted their cars washed, you know.
I
So-
never considered good old fashioned guilt as a fundraiser. That is
Guilt
I
can
am
get you-
here for
that
it.
is
Yeah.
genius.
So, but no, we've done some really cool, successful fundraisers that just weren't normal, that we didn't think would do well. We host a car show every year that we make like
Whoa.
$6,000 in one day. We just do it at our school, and people pay, I think, like $25 to bring their car in. And we've done a pop-up axe throwing that was really successful. So
I don't know
some
how
cool-
much I trust high school kids with axe throwing on
Pop
like
up, it's nonetheless.
They like bring a
grounds.
like tractor trailer, and like you go, the lanes to throw are inside the tractor trailer. That's been cool. And then I don't know, you guys know, like a bunch of programs do the mattress sales now. We're super successful with that, and we also sell sheets at the same time. And those, like, people ask year round, when are you selling sheets again? When are you selling sheets again? So those are some of our like outside the box that have been really good.
Yeah, those are really outside the box, but like that's awesome that works, and it's a testament to like how creative you could get with these ideas. Like,
Yeah.
literally anything, a lot of people will be willing to contribute because it's like going to a good cause at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'll have to make sure I get in there with the oh shoot, what was the first one you let off with there? That
The Bless Your Heart car wash.
Yeah, the Bless Your Heart car wash, I think, could maybe work in South Jersey too. South Jersey likes to pretend it's the South when it's not.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, before we toss it to Joey and Austin for this amazing interview that they cooked up with Greg Mills, let's get into the news here. All right, Joey, what do you got for us this week?
All right, so I've actually got a kind of a close-ish connection. Princess Anne High School from Virginia Beach, Virginia, recorded a song for the Piece by Piece movie with Pharrell Williams, and they appeared on the Today Show earlier this week. Something really important to know about Princess Anne is my personal connections as I judged them earlier this season, not knowing at all that we're also connected by they're a color guard they're a color. Oh my goodness, sorry. They're a guard closet consigner as well. It's pretty cool that they were on the Today Show and just giving some East Coast pride. But yeah, pretty neat to have a marching band on the national stage and in front of millions of people.
Yeah, like shout out to that band director. How did you line up that gig?
Apparently reading the article, Pharrell Williams just reached out to them personally. I was like, and just watching their shows, they do kind of like a hip hop vibe of show, year in, year out anyway. So I think it all kind of just mixed together. Yeah.
Wow. It's really cool. I'm gonna have to check out their show then, because that's like something that I wish existed more in like WGI percussion. I feel like there's like plenty of orchestral stuff, maybe some people trying to get a little poppy with it. But I would love to see some more hip hop inspired stuff.
Oh yeah, straight up Alicia Keys ballad. It was beautiful.
Oh yeah. All right. Yeah, that's actually something I've thought for a while, man. I wish people did just more modern music in their shows, like
Eva 2025. Y'all better be ready.
Oh man. I'll be there. I'll see it. I'll be there. All right. Let's check this out. Bobbey, what do you got for us this week?
Well, it was duly noted at a homecoming in North Texas that a mother, father, and daughter duo had all and were currently drum majors at Dunbar High School. So we all know that there's so many family connections with our activity, but what I'm reading is that Mom Lamelvia Hall was graduated in 2006. Dad Jacques Harmon graduated in 2008, and their daughter Sanaya Harmon is class of 2024, and they were all drum majors at Dunbar High School in North Texas. So we love to see it.
That's awesome. That's like following in the family tradition. I know I've thought for a while, like, oh, I'm going to have some kid and I'm going to raise him to be the most like perfect snare drummer. But it's different when like you and your spouse are both like, we're both going ham on the same exact thing. No, Jeremy, not a bass drummer. Because if I was starting a kid early, I would get him all the way there. He wouldn't get hung up where I got held up.
Well, I love here in the article too. It says that there are two little sisters waiting in the wings. So I think we've only heard just the beginning of this story. Yes,
it's a dynasty.
That's awesome. Well, we'll have another news story for sure in a couple of years here. We will have to check back in. But Austin, what do you got for us this week?
All right. So Coachella Valley. Yes, the one in California. Yes, the one where Sabrina Carpenter and every large pop star has played at, has a high school, Coachella Valley High School. They had $25,000 worth of instruments stolen from them. And a local rock band stepped in. They heard the news. They were like, all right, we're fixing this. Here we go. They said the rock band is called Avenida Music. They held a benefit concert for them on October 12th. So it was like a super big thing. They're like, all right, cool. This is a massive fundraiser. We're taking no profits. We're not doing anything. Every single cent that we make from this going straight to Coachella Valley so they can keep making music. And it's just a local band. They partner with the local high school. It's such a great story. And one of my favorite things in here is, there was the band director. He was like, I told the kids, we got two choices. We can run from it and let those people did what they did have power over us, or we can move forward. My kids, they worked hard all summer. They wanted to move forward. And honestly, kind of a testament to that band program. And local rock band stepped in and they said, hey, let's fix it. Let's go get these kids some new instruments. And they did just that. I don't know the results of the fundraiser, but I assume that it was great because it was just a couple days ago. So hoping that we can bring the results of that on a very, very near future podcast episode.
Yeah, we'll have to keep our eyes on the story.
I've been very surprised recently to hear that there's been a string of breaking into band trailers and band rooms. I think something similar happened to our own Whitney's Round Rock High School this past year. Mm-hmm. And I guess it was explained that people know that music programs in schools have money, so they can resell these items. It's just shocking and really sad, but this is
it's
great
awful story. It's horrible. You're stealing from children who already are struggling to be able to do something. I think it's awful. That falls in the line for me of throw them underneath the jail.
You're right.
Something I do is I take one of those carvers, those metal carvers, and I carve the school's name into a lot of the instruments and a lot of the, like even the electronics, I'll carve into the plastic. So if it ever does get to a pawn shop, they know exactly who to call. It happens all the time, and it's pretty unfortunate, but that's something that I've used as a tool to get some of the stuff back if it ever gets to a pawn shop.
Yeah, I guess a little engraver would go a long way with a lot of your band's instruments in a worst case scenario.
Yep. $7 at Harbor Freight.
Wow. Well, that's a life pro tip I wish I never had to give, but I'm glad we gave it. Alicia, maybe I hope that you have a story here that ends a little happier for us.
Yeah, mine's a little more heartwarming. I think we all know we've had a lot of tragedy lately with Hurricane Helene and Milton, and the Western North Carolina area was particularly devastated. And, I think when this stuff happens, people figure out how they can contribute. And Boone High School Marching Band in Iowa decided that their, contribution to Watauga High School in Boone, North Carolina, was to learn their fight song and record it for them. I guess just for, inspiration, or to say, hey, we're here for you. And the band director reached out and sent them the video just to try to give them a little ray of sunshine in the midst of everything they were dealing with. So the videos out there online to watch, it is 100% a tearjerker. But yeah, it was a really cool thing for them to do, I think.
Yeah, it is really cool the way that like communities will come together to try to rally the troops when these sorts of natural disasters will really wreck an area. It's
Yeah.
so cool to see like the other school come out and kind of recognize that the other guys can use a helping hand right now. So
Yeah, for sure.
well, that is nice. That's very heartwarming. I love to see that. Wish we had less hurricanes though. Though I probably am not one to talk on that lately. Ricardo, maybe you're one more to talk on those issues or tell us about new DCI rule.
I will definitely talk about a new DCI rule. And so we all know that last year the DCI brand expanded to encompass what used to formerly be DCA, but is now DCI All Age. And next year in 2025, or this year, this coming up season, they are changing the format in which they compete at DCI World Championships. So this past summer in 2024, we only had one day of championships for our all-age corps, and that was on the Saturday morning. This next year, DCI all-age corps will compete on Friday night, and the top 12 scoring corps from Friday night, regardless of their classification, will advance to the DCI All-Age Championship Finals on Saturday. Where an overall all-age, where an overall all-age champion will be crowned. So corps that do not advance will be invited to perform as a part of the all-age division of the Sound Sport Music and Food Festival presented by Jazzwell, also on Saturday. So this is really cool. Another part of the rule is that there used to be a minimum of 26 members, but because drum corps and particularly all age corps, because they have a little bit less time commitment, is experiencing a growth. So now all age corps will be required to compete with at least 40 members. With the new minimum, corps between 40 and 60 members will fall into the all age A class. 61 and 85 members will fall into the all-age open class, and 86 to 128 members will fall into the all-age world class. So this is a big step. Just 1 year into this being a part of the DCI family, we're seeing that growth happen with our all-age corps.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like it makes so much sense because now like DCA is so much more legitimized in my eyes by like going to DCI and putting its finals in the same venue as DCI, same weekend. Like it really was like heartwarming to me to see Bucks, Bush, Caballeros, Fusion, like all these groups actually out there in Indy. But the one reservation that all my friends who did it had was they hated that it was a one and done performance, just like Saturday morning. So this is huge for DCI All Age.
You know, anytime we have this kind of growth in the activity and we get to see things expand and it becomes more and more, you know, it's a win for the performers. It's a win for those people who have put in their time and money and effort and blood and sweat and tears to be able to do this thing that we all love. I'm just happy to see it grow. And I hope it grows even more so that it turns into, 3 days worth of competition. I don't know how that would fall on the DCI calendar with quarterfinals and all of that. But the more opportunities for those people to perform and do the thing that we all love, that's a win for all of us, especially the fans who get to watch all of this amazing drum corps happen all in one place in an amazing venue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's really huge too. Just thinking like literally twice as many runs in Lucas Oil Stadium now. If you're a DCI all age person, just boom, snap of a finger.
Snap of a finger.
That's awesome. Well, with a little bit more than a snap of a finger, I think that my news story came together. The Boston Crusaders just announced, maybe today, if not today, then certainly this week, that they're doing a California tour next summer. I think next summer. Maybe it's in 2026, but
no, it's 2025. We actually talked about it in our design meeting this past week at the Academy.
Whoa, that's awesome. Yeah.
They're
Wait,
going to
the
start
Academy
in
had to scoop
California.
ahead of time? Do you
Yeah,
guys have like an intelligence agency?
You know, the directors all meet, and so there's like there's conversation that happens way before news makes it out into the world. So, listeners, sometimes you get inside scoop because of all of us people who are in the know. We know news before you get to know news.
Another reason to listen to the show for our thinly veiled.
Exactly.
So, for someone who's not as entrenched in drum corps DCI necessarily, I love it and I'm a fan. What's the significance of the announcement that they're going on a California tour?
I'd say it's like twofold. One is like the surface level of it. It's cool that for all those members, they're going to go to California. They're going to trek through like a lot more interesting tour than they ever would on an East Coast only tour.
It's beautiful.
But also the like more behind baseball or whatever version that I would give is that like by them going out there and competing with BD early, they're trying to place themselves in more of a competitive landscape to win. Rather than getting boxed out of competing with Cali groups until it might be too late.
Yeah, so traditionally, usually the East Coast corps don't get to see the West Coast corps until San Antonio. And spoiler alert, and it'll be a news story later, but there's going to be a little bit of changes to how San Antonio happens this year. Yep, I know. I can't talk any more than that. I've said more than I should say, and I'm probably going to have the DCI Mafia after me later. But
are we still at the Alamo Dome, Ricardo?
I'm not putting anything out there in the world that's going to jeopardize me being hunted down by the DCI Mafia. So I've already said too much. I'll call you later.
Yeah. And let the record reflect that Ricardo did not talk to us after the call, and he hangs up, he leaves. He doesn't like talk. He doesn't like us. He doesn't talk to us.
I've never talked to him in my life.
Ricardo Robinson-Shinall, I have no idea who that is.
Yeah, you don't know me. But yeah, so them coming to the West Coast, because this was my first year doing the California and West Coast tour, and it is fun. Like California and that whole thing, like first of all, the scenery, the stadiums, it's just beautiful. So this is an amazing opportunity for those Boston performers to get to be and see that part of the country and really get to go toe to toe. I mean, on the West Coast tour, you got Blue Devils, you've got Santa Clara Vanguard, you've got the Blue Knights, you've got the Academy, you have Troopers. So it just puts them in a different realm of competition. So they're not competing against the same corps that they're used to competing with early in the summer, for the whole summer.
And it also can just set a dynamic. I think a lot of time, I know at least I think the cadets, when they've done West Coast tour, they've won.
Cavaliers done it too.
And they win when they do it. There's a pretty high incidence of doing it, because I bet if you get out there and you can actually be the lead corps in California and you're not BD or SCV, then you're a real force to be reckoned with when you come meet up with the Bluecoats, the rest of everyone. But it sets tour off to a great start if you can just come out hot and you're on a California tour.
Absolutely.
So my takeaway from all of that is that Boston's going to be out for blood this year.
Yes. Yeah. I think they're going to win. Right now, they'd be my betting favorite to win.
Can we put that on some Poop Bingo squares that they're going to win?
Stephen called it on October 16th.
I'll make a drum corps sports book and we can all place our bets on it.
Oh my God. Boy. Can we do a drum corps fantasy league? That would be so much fun.
Somebody did one this summer.
Did they?
One of my friends did one this summer. Yeah, it was actually really legit. It was pretty tied up. We're all getting in this. I'm going to text right now. We're doing this.
Do it.
On a water break drum corps fantasy. I'm so down.
We can make this a reality. I'd do a separate mini pod about my fantasy team.
Oh my gosh, Johnny in the trumpet section really screwed this up today with the misstep off. No.
I would love that. All right. Well, it's time for us to work these changers for the closer again, so we will be right back as we dive a little bit deeper into fundraising this week.
Hey, this is Christine Ream.
And Chris Green.
Guard Closet was founded as a consignment business in 2000. Since then, it has grown to include winter guard, band, percussion, and other genres.
We can help you with custom flag and costuming designs.
Our consignment inventory has plenty of great looks for your color guard, drumline, and marching band.
Pay it forward. When you purchase consignment, you help other programs. Last year, we sold over 400 sets of consignments and returned over $125,000 in payments to our consigners for their sales.
Additionally, Guard Closet offers custom and pre-designed costumes, flags, floors, and formal wear, full or partial show writing, educational programming, and other services.
Max out your rehearsal time and set up a microsite for easy student ordering for shoes, gloves, and other equipment.
The Guard Closet team is here to help you get everything you want and need for your season. Check us out at guardcloset.com and follow us on social media.
All right, listeners, we're back. So it's Austin and I here on the sidelines. I want to kick off a discussion about fundraising. Austin, what's the most unique fundraising you've ever kind of put together or done?
See, I am never really in an administration role when it comes to like band things, so I never put them together, but I like to participate in them. One of the most unique I'll tell you about one that I have done and one that I'm about to do. One thing that my high school did when I was in high school was a car show.
Ooh.
That was a super fun idea. One of the band parents was like a super car guy, and he was like, "Let's put together this car show and just make it a booster fundraiser."
That's awesome.
And it worked great. Like people from outside the community showed up. It was a great time, and there was vendors, all that good stuff. But the one that we're about to do is a golf tournament.
Oh.
One of my hobbies outside of band is golf, so I'm going to go play in a golf tournament for fundraise. Hey, whoa. Golf is fun, excuse you.
I think that's so cool. How do you make money on that? Like, what do you pay to play? Is it, paying to watch? Yeah. How does that work?
Yeah, pay to play. It's usually typically a lot of corporations do them, and we just decided to put it together with a local golf course, and they were like, "Yeah, let's do it." And so they're just gonna we'll put together a bunch of people from kind of all over. They sign up to play. They pay a certain fee. The golf course just runs at cost, and then any profits go straight to the band. So that's at least awesome. My knowledge of it. It makes a lot of money. I want to say I think last year, they made like 15 grand or something like that.
That's incredible. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I've been a pretty big, a big fundraising guy. When I started writing drill, people would be like, I want $1,500 to write this drill because Pyware is just a terrible, it's just so hard to get into it. And once you're in it, it's fine. But like the learning curve is pretty steep. Let me write your drill, $1,500. Oh, we can't afford it. I'm like, oh, well, if you do these fundraisers, you can afford the drill, and you just keep the fundraisers after you write the drill, and just after I write the drill, keep working. You have all this money. I've been pretty passionate about fundraising from the beginning of my career. I actually did a presentation at WGICon when it was in New Orleans. It was called Banding on a Budget, and it was essentially like how to make this affordable for small town groups and how to scale that up as you continue to succeed. All right, someone who has who's taken a huge interest in creating incentives for their students to raise money is our guest of the week. I'll let him introduce himself and tell his whole story. He's from Taft High School in San Antonio, Texas. It's Greg Mills. How's it going, Greg?
Good. How are you?
Oh man, I'm living life. I'm really excited to get into this interview. Like I've said already, I really love fundraising, and it's kind of become a huge passion of mine. And so I'm really excited to hear from you. Can we start our interaction off right now with the 32 count life story? Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, here we go. 32 counts off the cuff. Let's hit it.
All right, so I am an Arizona-born saxophonist. I went to Arizona State University. I was a drum major for 3 years, and then one of my teachers out there got me hooked up with a couple of people out here in San Antonio. So I got a job at Taft High School 12 years ago and been there ever since. This is my one job that I've been at for my whole career so far. 6 years as an assistant, and now this is my 6th year as a head director.
Wow. That's incredible. And you beat the time, my guy.
Boom, boom.
Awesome. We're off to a great start. That's so cool. 6 years as an assistant, and this is your first as the head. How's it going? How do you feel about it?
Good. This is my 6th year as the head.
I'm sorry.
No, all good. So so I started 12 years ago. I moved to Texas here, didn't know anyone. My closest family member lives 1,000 miles away. So just kind of picked up and moved everything here for band.
I know what that's like. That's awesome. Dude, that's so cool. How have you enjoyed? I mean, 12 years in Texas, you're obviously loving it and things are going well. Can we talk about the word around the water break? $41,000. What talk to us about it? Tell me the story. Tell me what the kids are excited about. Let's hear it.
Okay. So, I mean, it's really interesting. I was listening to you before and you were saying how passionate you are about fundraising. I could not be less passionate about fundraising. Like, fundraising is my least favorite thing to do. Like, for a musician, like, I want to talk about phrasing, shaping, all that kind of stuff. The business of money is not what I got in this thing to do. So we're always trying to find what is the best way to make money from our community and beyond. And even what's ethical to make, like how much money from our immediate community should we constantly be tapping into? And so I do try to be pretty sensitive about that. And so a couple of years ago, we kind of switched to the crowdsource fundraiser, the thing that everybody seems to be really hip and happening on. Some people call it a march-a-thon kind of deal. But really, I mean, sometimes people don't want cookie dough. They don't want they just, here's some money. Please stop asking me for money. I don't want your pasta plate. I don't want your this. And so everything applies to different people, especially for those people that are connected to our community, but not in our backyard. Alumni that no longer live in San Antonio that want to support, but just can't physically come to that performance that's ticketed or something like that. Yeah. So we started our first crowdsource fundraiser a couple years ago, and we made a modest amount on it. We had never done it before. And then kind of each year it started ramping up. So I think this is our 4th or 5th year. I've lost track doing it, but the whole thing kind of started last year where I stole an idea from someone else that I saw on social media, where if they hit a certain goal, the director would spend a night out on the tower. And I was like, I grew up camping. That sounds fun. I don't have back problems yet. And so I thought, hey, this will be a great idea. Which surprisingly, I got so much less sleep than I thought I was going to get, in that the road right next to Taft High School is so much louder at 3 a.m. than I could have possibly imagined. The kids were really great about it, though. I got deliveries of food and all that kind of stuff. It was a spectacle. Yeah. I did some live streaming on Instagram through our band Instagram. So kids were asking me questions, and I was getting texts from other band directors asking, like, are you on your tower right now? What are you actually doing? And so I think that interaction then brought more attention to our fundraiser this year. And of course the question is, what are the stakes? So we took the same goal of, if we reached, I think it was 30,000 this year, which was our goal last year, which I did the tower. I was like, cool, I'll do the tower if you get the same thing. But what's the next carrot on the end of the stick? And so as a child, I had buzz cuts growing up. I'm not scared of a haircut. Yeah. So I did offer to completely shave my head bald. If we hit $41,000. To be clear, I definitely thought that this was an unattainable goal, but just something to keep us reaching past to pad the amount. I know we needed to hit 30K to hit the budget goal, but it's always nice to have some extra on the side there.
Yeah. So what's under the hat? I gotta ask. Has it happened?
A full head of hair so far.
Okay.
In 24 hours, that will be a different story. It's going down tomorrow, right after school.
Oh my goodness. Who's doing it? Do you get to do it?
No. So the top 5 kids that had donations in their name get to be the 5 kids that take it all off. So those 5 kids have already gotten together. They have a plan of like, okay, we're going to give them this hairdo first, and then this hairdo, and then we'll end with this. So that they have a process through it that they're ready for it. And so we even have a cosmetology department who has lent us the shears and the cape, the apron around, everything like that. It's like the school is into it. I hear things from the counselors in the front office staff. It's being fun.
That's pretty cool.
Okay, I got a couple questions for you. One, you're streaming this live, right?
Yes, we're going to stream. We're going to stream it live at our Instagram and our Facebook.
Heck
nice. Yeah. I will be looking out for that tomorrow for sure.
Right.
What time is that going down? What time is that going down?
4:45 here in Texas time.
Beautiful.
Gotcha. Cool. Yeah, looking forward. I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing it. By the time this airs, it'll already be done, unfortunately. But I know I'll be watching. 4:45 Texas time. Looking Taft Band's Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah,
we can get the replay. I'm sure we could probably get the replays up for you guys.
Yeah, we'll post it up. That is such a crazy, insane goal. And when like you said, the carrot in front of the kids, and they achieve. That's always like, it's like, oh, what do I have to do next? Like, that's so crazy.
It's a completely unsustainable process. Like, this is not a good long-term idea. But you say like the carrot in front of the kids, and you're not wrong about that. But the band parents are more into this. Like, they're the ones sending the memes. They're the ones that are more excited about this. I think they understand that as an adult, this is something that could socially affect me. The kids think it's something fun, but I mean, anytime we're dealing with fundraising, it's not our kids' money we're trying to take. We're trying to reach into the community, and the parents are really the gateway into that. And so when we start talking about fundraising, the kids are great. We want to support the kids, but the parents are the gateway towards those sources of funding.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that is so smart. I mean, like, I think this episode is going to be so great because this is such an important topic. It is kind of scary. It's hard to ask people for money. It's hard to know how much enough is kind of like you've already said, and at some point you feel like you start to tap out your resources in your community. At what point is enough? But if your community cares enough to create moments like this for the students, like, maybe enough is never enough, and they'll keep making it happen because they appreciate the work you've put in. I'm sure the community appreciates what the band does for the community. So, I mean, I think this is all based on work you've put in as a band, and as a band director, and what the band offers the community. I think that's so cool. Austin, you got something?
Yeah. So, I mean, you've raised the bar once. Are you going to raise it? Are we already thinking about next year? How you're going to raise the bar?
I honestly have no idea. So before I agreed to do this, like, obviously I talked to my wife first, and I made sure I had the okay at home.
Sure.
Again, like I said, this is a completely unsustainable practice. And so I definitely makes me worried for the future of what is out there. But also, I got this idea from watching other people on social media, and I don't mind people stealing from me, but
yeah,
it's hard to keep up with the Joneses down the street on this. Like, we see this in marching arts all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we do. I've done the get pied in the face a lot. Like, if you do this, you can pie me in the face, but cutting the hair. I mean, you look great. You look great with the shave. Maybe you grow a full beard for a year if they hit a next space. Shave the eyebrows. I'm not kidding.
Oh, no. That one's too far. That's too close to home.
That's awesome. Well, so you did the crowdsourcing. Do you do any other fundraisers? Is this like the big one that you guys do?
So this is the primary one that we do for the year. That's the big, I guess, cash cow. We definitely do other fundraisers. In terms of the full program, we try and do 3 a year. So this is the first one. In November, we'll do an Italian dinner. That's a big annual thing where it's like the kids' final marching event of the year, where we do a standstill performance of the show. We serve food. There's a silent auction. It's all live music. And it's also an appreciation event for our community, that they're always the one pushing the props and helping us get on the field and being chaperones and serving meals. This is our opportunity to perform for them without any of that stuff, where they actually get to hear and enjoy and see their kids up close without a shako on. And then in the spring, we'll do a chicken barbecue, which is kind of like a drive-through template where our parents will cook out all day. And we marry that with a car show. I know you guys were talking about that before. That's a great community event. Again, trying to find ways to financially tap into our community without tapping into our band families is a really key thing to do. And then we've got a couple of things here and there. We host a jazz festival. That one is really well attended. We do some percussion. 12 drummers of Christmas kind of thing, like some drumograms during Christmas, where they'll get in a bus, and if you pay us a certain amount of money, we'll go to your house during the Christmas season. We'll play outside your house.
That's awesome.
It's kind of fun.
Like Christmas caroling, stuff like that.
Yeah, like a Christmas.
I've done that too. Like when I was in high school, I did it too. It was so fun. We just get in a caravan of cars. We just drive around the community and just pop up in front of people's doors and be a little small ensemble. It's a great time.
Yeah, make some noise.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Annoy everybody else's neighbors who paid for it or who didn't pay for it.
That's awesome. Well, I think this is so cool, and it deserves to get the attention that you're getting. I'm sure there's people that are just so hyped. That's such a big amount of money for any ensemble, and the fact that it's all for the students, and that's what we do all of this for, is the students. I think it's just all in the right place. So whatever the next level is that you take it to, I think the world knows that you're doing it for your students. And so, if you lose those eyebrows, if you lose a finger, maybe, we'll know. We'll know who it's
I'll
for.
legally change my name or something. I don't know.
Hey, he said it on a podcast, guys. Let's go. We can, maybe another way is you'll switch the name to like a business name. Like now your truest Mills, and you'll get it tattooed on your forehead or something. I'm trying to give your students ideas that are going to be hard for you to break away from.
That's never a bad idea.
Face idea here, Greggy McGreg face. I like that one.
Yeah, let's do it. Well, as always. I appreciate this, and this is, I think, it's important to give recognition where it's due. You've done a great job with this, and again, it's great that you're making this happen for your students. We do something on a water break. It's called "What Are We Doing?" And we're going to do it with you if you're okay with it. We'll even play the sound effect. So essentially, cool. What are we doing? It's kind of, it's a little tongue in cheek. It's what are we doing? Not making time for ourselves. What are we doing? Not, checking levels before a band competition. What do we, whatever it is. Do you got one? Do you want to do one with us?
Oh gosh. Yeah. I've got one.
Okay, cool.
Let's do it.
We're gonna play a little thing for you, and we're going off. Here we go.
What are we doing?
What are we doing?
By the way, all of our sounds are custom made for the podcast, so they're really, really cool. All right,
nice.
So, Mr. Mills, what are we doing?
Yeah, so let's talk about college music education right now, like getting educated to be a band director in college. Oh my gosh, to be a successful band director in 2024, somehow magically you have to have these skills of like a woodwind pedagogue, but also with drum corps experience, but also how to read EQ levels and make audio adjustments. And somehow you did a semester or two of indoor color guard, and you've got to have all these skills. I don't know how college programs are expected to keep up with the increasing demanding skills that our profession keeps asking of us. Like no more can you just be a really great musician and be able to be a good pedagogue of the instruments. You've got to be a businessman. You've got to be a designer. You've got to be a people pleaser. There is so much demand on our profession right now that that college cannot prepare us for. It's completely impossible.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Um, it is something that I get to work with groups all across the U.S. and I get to sit in band rooms and I watch just the defeat on some of these band directors. It's their plan period. They should be planning for the future of their program, but instead they're looking to acquire buses for Saturday. They're raising $41,000 for their program. They're dealing with this administrative things. They're dealing with, and it's like, what classes did you take in college that prepped you for this? And I asked, like, you're good at this. Like, how'd you get good at this? And some of these band directors say, well, I've been doing it for 20 years and I've just realized that no one else is going to do the work and my kids deserve the best. So I have to do it. And it's like, man, it's so hard. I like the fact that you guys don't get home until 7, 8 at night because you got to be there at 7 in the morning. You got all the band classes. Your plan period is spent looking for buses and designers and design meetings and all the stuff. And then you got band practice afterward. And then you got to get home and you got to eat and you got to do prep for the next day. Like, sure, you guys do a lot, and it is truly. It is truly the work of saints that y'all do. And, I, as a designer, get to come in, do the easy thing. I get to keep the kids riled up for Viz Block. And then I say, okay, cool, go learn music. And I get to sit on the sidelines as y'all do the real work. And it's much appreciated. As a designer of 30 groups in the fall and 15 in the winter, I want to say that I truly appreciate the work that y'all do. And it doesn't go unseen by those that truly care. Yeah.
Well, I know even like I'm really blessed. One of the reasons why I moved to Texas is this idea that of course a 6A program needs at least 3 full-time directors. And I work with some of the best. Like our director team, I would put our director team up against any in our area that, like, I think I work with the best musicians in my district by far. People who are so much better than myself at what they do. But I've told them before, I could sit at my desk, never teach a single note all day, just do administrative work and have a really good weekly email. And I would be content. I think I could be happy doing that. Or I could only teach music. I could only be on the podium all day and that would be happy. But this duality is such a difficult thing to be able to straddle.
Yeah, 100%. I really... That's cool that you've got a great team. The teamwork makes the dream work. We continue to say that, in the marching band realm, it's all about, unity is on the sheets so much in the BOA space, that like, if the team isn't working together, there's no way that, we get a great product. So that's awesome. That's awesome.
Great job, everyone. Set your equipment down. Gush and go.
All right, so another thing that we do here, Greg, is called Gush and Goes. It's your time to gush and go about anything to do with the marching arts. It could be what you got going on this weekend, where you're competing. It could be what you're happy about for the winter. Anything marching arts. Do you have a gush and go for us?
Sure. I guess we've got here in Texas, we have the UIL system that kind of governs band. And I didn't understand UIL before I moved to Texas. And even then, it took me a couple of years to really understand the institution that is UIL. So we are now out of our phase of our marching season where we've done some US bands contests. We've done some other invitationals around the area, but now we're in UIL mode. And this is band. Like it's not as much about GE. It's let's have a great concert band sound on a field and excite the audience at the same time, like how to blend the old and the new. I am incredibly proud of the Taft Band program. We've been building for several years, and especially in our area, we are in such a competitive UIL area H, where we see some of the best bands in the state of Texas. We've got bands that we're going to be up against that have won 6A UIL state over the last decade. And so to be able to expose my students to that competitive level is something I'm so excited about. And my kids are energized. They want to hold their own. Like they know what our goals are for Taft High School is to be a part of the Taft High School story as we've developed. I would say 4 years ago, we weren't even making area finals. And now that is a consistent thing for us. And so my kids have really embraced the slow burn as we've moved our way for consistency, and like we're competing against ourselves, not other people. And it's been really rewarding as a director to see that culture take place. So our culture is healthy at Taft.
Heck yeah. Culture's where it's at, man. I mean, there's no champion without a championship culture. So kudos to you. That's fantastic. Let's wrap this up. Where can the people find you, and where can we get what's the Instagram that we can watch the live and see this hair go away?
Yeah, follow us at the Raider Band, or you can just search Facebook for Taft Raider Band. You'll see it'll be pretty easy to find up on Facebook or Instagram. Yeah, follow us.
Following you, do you care to share where we can find you and follow the things that you're doing as a professional?
Yeah. So one of the things about me is I think what's healthy and not healthy for me. Although I do keep an eye on our band's social media, you're not going to find me on social media, and I'm delightfully ignorant of all that stuff. There's only so many hours of the day I don't want to spend it looking at my phone.
That's awesome. Well, we'll make sure to check out the Raider Band. Everyone, go back for a few more chunks, and then we're gonna hit the full run. What are we doing on a water break?
Hey everyone, it's Jeremy, your producer from On a Water Break, and here are your announcements coming from the box. While you're enjoying this amazing episode, don't forget our other episodes, including the one about Peggy Twiggs, the one where we go behind the scenes of the Olympics and the marching arts. We check out the first female drummers from Crossmen. We also have amazing special features, including At Step Off with Jack Goudreau, Lost in Translation with Cynthia Bernard, and Behind the Lens with Chris Marr and Russell Tanakaya. Don't forget our other bonus feature, On a Water Break With, where we explore individuals or small groups. We talk to people like Eric Carr, Forte Athletics, and comedian Tony Deo. If you know of a story, or you know of someone that would make a great story, email us at onawaterbreakpodcast@gmail.com. Okay, field staff, take it away.
All right, we are back, and it is time for What Are We Doing?
What are we doing?
What are we doing?
All right, Alicia, do you want to kick us off this time?
Absolutely. And I'm probably beating a dead horse. I've probably complained about this on here before. What are we doing? Buying costumes for our color guard kids from these dance websites and then not supplying or teaching or requiring them to have the proper undergarments underneath them. I am judging right now in the middle, we're in the middle of the season. I'm judging on the weekends, and the number of times I'm talking to a group on the field and I see a minor out here with her little dance solo, and I can see everything. I can see the bra. She turns around. I can see the back. I can see I don't need to see that. First of all, illegal. Second of all, protect your kids. But just make smart decisions. No one needs to be seeing these children's undergarments. Fix it.
The boys. Can someone please talk to the boys about a dance belt? And also the bands that are putting their kids in more like color guard-esque costumes. Put them boys in the dance belt. Teach. Don't nobody want to see that. That is nasty. It's nasty. Don't nobody want to see it.
Compression shorts do not do the same thing as a dance belt.
They do not. They do not. Mm-mm.
Oh, I've been a offender for that one during my marching days, for sure.
Steven, this is a PG-rated podcast. Can you please not?
I'm simply saying I've worn compression shorts.
I would say it is the adults in the room that are responsible for these things.
Absolutely.
The adults being band directors, color guard directors, staff, even parents.
Oh no, we lost them.
If my child went on the field looking like what you're describing, I would be having a conversation with somebody about that.
Yeah.
I have not been a stranger to getting to the end of my tape and saying, okay, staff, I want you to turn the tape off. Don't let your students listen past this point. And then saying what I need to say about how inappropriate it is and how we need to fix it.
I
That's
have a
awesome.
fun story, and I know this is not about me right now, but this is a fun story. So, years ago, I had a principal who happened to have been a color guard person before she like became a principal and eventually like a school district superintendent. But we were sitting around and we were talking about the color guard costumes and all this stuff, and I was like scrolling through my phone, and there were pictures of like undergarments, and she was like looking at my phone, and she said to me, she goes, "You know, if you weren't a color guard person, I would be really offended by the fact that you're scrolling through pictures on your phone and there's pictures of like undergarments on there." She said, "But as a color guard person, I'm very proud to know that you actually think about these things and that you have talked to these children about like what they need to wear underneath their costumes."
Yeah.
Preach. It's how it should be.
It's hard conversations, but we're getting away from hard conversations, right? We're saying it's a crucial conversation, and you gotta have them because it's just we don't need to, we don't need to be paying attention to that. We need to be paying attention to the way they spin, the way they play, the way they dance, the way they do all those things. We don't need to be looking at other stuff. I appreciate it. I appreciate that. What are we doing?
Yeah, call it out politely, quickly, but get it done. Needs to happen. All right. Bobbey, do you got a what are we doing for us this week?
I do. I always talk about how my what are we doings aren't necessarily kvetching, but they're more actually asking what are we doing. So what are we doing? And I'm interested in some of your feedback. What are we doing about managing coming to the end of the marching band season, transitioning towards indoor? How are we setting up those meetings? Like I know my school hosts will do an interest meeting that kind of overlaps with marching band because I like the marching band kids to be in the meeting. So how are we doing that? Does anyone take like just a big break from between the two seasons? Does someone go right into it? I'd love to hear what everybody thinks.
Well, here in Florida, we go up until Thanksgiving for marching band. So immediately after that Thanksgiving break, we jump right into the winter guard season. So there's not really that much like time off for us. And I know I got a message yesterday about a friend that is ending their marching band season early because they're not doing state championships. And it's like, "Hey, can you come judge my winter guard auditions?" And I was like, I'm still going to be in marching band. So I'm sorry, I can't.
We here, at least the ensembles that I work with, just because I need the mental break and we go pretty hard. We rehearse a lot in afternoons and then they get class. We give them at least a week and a half where they're not doing anything marching band. They get those nights off. They get to relax. And then we'll start, like we call them try it out days. So it's like newbies will come and try see if this is what it looks like. The vets still get to take that next week off. So really there's 2.5 weeks where they're chilling. And then we have audition season. We finish the month of November, and then December rehearsals start up again as normal all the way to April. That's usually what we do. And it helps me out too, going 6 months straight. Like it's nice to have a break and not have to think about it. Obviously there's tons of plan. Like right now I've got all the shows already kind of picked out and everything, but the kids need to have that mental break and get to go be kids for a little bit after school. That's what we do.
I think there's something to be said for avoiding burnout, both as a staff and for the students, because it is really hard to be a kid nowadays. Like they need that break for sure. Yeah. So I think we aimed for 2 weeks of nothing and jumping back in. But Bobbey, to answer your first, one of the programs I work with right now, they don't hold any sort of interest meeting, but the director of the indoor drum line has put up QR codes all over for people to scan and fill out an interest form and get the schedule and get like the dues expectation so they can make the decision and kind of figure out where they are during that time off.
Yeah, I mean, I find that, which I'm sure all of us do in some capacity, and some of our listeners will too, especially where we don't have, members that each have 30, 50, 200 members in them, ensembles. But, maybe the kids we pick up for indoor color guard are some of the flute players in the band or the clarinet players in the band. So there is this idea of catching them when they're still fresh in the mindset of the activity. But yes, I agree. I like to take 2 or 3 weeks off, depending on when the football season is over, if we go into playoffs or don't go into playoffs. And then somebody said we start usually like the first week in December. I think Joey said it. And we go until about April too. So they get the Thanksgiving Day holiday. They get that whole holiday sort of several days off, and that's nice. But it's never ending. Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like what my high school used to do when I was in high school. My current place I teach, though, we just give them like a good 6 to 8 month break. No indoor. It's the best. Give me time to do United. I don't need an indoor at my high school for now. All right. Let's see. Joey, I think you got our next What Are We Doing? What do you got?
Oh, mine might be a little. I guess it depends on how you set your program up and what you hold important. To me, I think optics are really important. And I've never, and I'm curious to see what the panel or what y'all think as well. But what are we doing asking our kids to turn their backs on the currently performing ensemble. To me, it just feels just petty. It feels like I posted something about this on my Facebook the other day, and Susie Harloff said something along the lines of like, it's just an old tradition that shows that you kind of value winning more than you care about supporting others doing the thing that you're doing. And so what are we doing? Not bringing each other up. You know what I mean? Like we're all in the hot, we're all in the cold, we're all, fighting to make sure that we have the right frequencies for our microphones and make sure everybody's got the flags. Like there's enough stressors and enough hurdles to jump over that we don't need to be, going to the sideline, dropping our flags off, looking to the left and seeing the backs of people that we wished were supporting us. So I just think it's a silly tradition, and I'm fighting to get all my ensembles to get away from that.
Dude, It is just band. It's 100%. Just band. None of this matters to 90% of this kids after they graduate. If we're not teaching them to be decent human beings, we shouldn't be teaching them. Period.
I think that I always, at least where we are in sort of the Philadelphia Mid-Atlantic area, and I could be wrong, I think that I always understood it as get focused. Yeah. Like we need you to get focused, that by watching what's on the field or on the floor, you're not getting yourself into the right mental. I never took it as a form of disrespect. I don't subscribe to it personally, but I don't know. I guess maybe others don't do it for the reason that you're maybe mentioning, but I'm not sure.
So I used to do this because, it was an old school thing, and it was like, yeah, we have to get the kids focused. And what I found over my many, many years of teaching is that it doesn't actually make the kids focus. It makes them more nervous because they're listening to stuff. They're listening to drops. They're listening to crowd reaction, and they're not actually seeing what's happening. And so I stopped doing it a couple years ago, and I just had the kids look at them, support them, see what they're doing, see how, if there's something that they're doing right, how are you going to emulate that? If they're doing something that they're doing wrong, how are you going to do it better? And it changed the dynamic of the way that my kids took the floor. First of all, they were supportive and they were clapping for the kids that came off the floor right before them. And then they got to go out there and say, okay, we're going to do what we do in the way that we do it. And it's a game changer. It is. And it's not rude.
Dude, way to self-reflect and grow. I love that.
Yeah. We're in growth mindset around here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of what I'm doing with my bass line at United lately. For their video assignments in the beginning part of the year, I want them to send a video of a WGI bass line that inspired them. I think there should be more of a reverence for the other people performing. In my baseline sense, I'm trying to get them to specifically look towards lines that have done it really well. But at a local high school sense, you should have a reverence for the other groups you're competing against. In my opinion, at least, the right thing to do is to show them the respect of watching and seeing what they do,
Yeah. At the end of the day, you're going to be in an all district band with some of these people in a month. You know what I mean? In a short amount of time, you're going to be making music together. We're all a big band family here. and
Well,
we got to just kind of keep working together.
I also think too, what we're learning about this generation of students is that they do have reverence for these things. Maybe where my generation didn't, and the generations before me, and the ones right after me. The kids love this. They love to support each other. They want to cheer on each other. They're giving each other high fives when we're walking past each other in the hallway.
They're interconnected because of social media. So they're all friends with people from other schools, whereas we didn't have that before back in the day because we didn't have that connectivity. So you're exactly right, Bobbey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should be more like at the end of a NFL football game when like the two quarterbacks go and dap each other up. And it's like, oh, you guys are boys the whole time? Like, I thought this was competitive, but, you know, you can have that kind of support and still be like, yeah, the most respectful thing I want to do as your competitor is beat you and be so good. But, like, that doesn't mean that I can't watch what you do and like what you do either.
Yeah.
Word. Austin, you've had a lot of time here to think out of what are we doing. Do you got one?
Got one. Okay, I'm going to have to go into witness protection with Ricardo after this one. But here we go.
We like each other. You can share my witness protection house.
Cool. I'm down. Let's go. We'll move to an undisclosed island in the middle of the Pacific for this.
Yeah, meet me at the
just
undisclosed
told
location.
Everyone where we're going to be.
I said the Pacific's a big ocean. But anyway. So what are we doing not designing around the strengths of our current performers?
Come
through. You got Alicia hated. You got Alicia hated over there.
I got the praise hands.
Shots fired. Shots
fired.
fired.
I know. See, because the issue, the reason I'm going to get thrown into witness protection is because someone's going to listen to this and be like, I do design around my kids. And then they get all these tapes from all these judges and they go, no, honey, no, that's not the case. I haven't seen a lot of shows this year from hardly anybody, but I did see a couple of shows in a state that I'm not going to disclose where I was. It was in the Southeast, but I saw a show and I was like, I watched like a few bands and I'm like, okay, these are really, really good. Like it's designed around their kids. It's well thought out. We've done everything great. And they do everything really, really, really well. And then there were other groups that went on and I was just like, what? Like, why is your drum major off the podium for a third of the show playing a saxophone solo? I don't understand that. If they're a really good saxophone player, put them on the field. Feature them as a soloist. Showcase your color guard. Put them in a spot where I want to watch them if they're good enough, you know? Put your percussion section is great. Put them in the front. Give the winds a musical challenge while also showcasing your percussion. Like, design to the strengths of your performers, and you will get way more credit than just do an elevator drill or putting the color guards on the sides or
an arc in the back.
Exactly.
I think that goes a little further even into show choice too. Like, pick shows that will resonate with your kids or resonate with your audience.
Yeah.
This over intellectualized realm we got into with marching band shows. Like, I'm so.
Oh, I'm going there in a minute, Alicia. I'm going there in a minute. So you're foreshadowing.
Oh, no.
I'm getting triggered. Don't get
me wrong. I love the over intellectualized thing. I really do. I really like it. I like designing those types of shows, but it has to be relatable to the people that are watching it. Like adding in those little Easter eggs, one of my favorite things to do. But if you cannot catch it, it doesn't work.
Yeah, I tell my clients, like, I want grandma sitting up in the corner of the stands to be able to connect with the show as much as anybody else. And if they have no idea what it's about, we're doing something wrong. Yeah. I told another judge this past weekend in the box because he was like, what was the name of that show? What was the name of that show? And I was like, the name doesn't matter. If we can't tell what it's about, there's a problem.
We want to grow this activity, and if we're not growing the activity from people that are outside of the activity because they can't connect with it in any way, then what are we doing?
Yeah.
I will die on that hill.
I think
That's a good hill
I
to
think the
die on.
conundrum is it's a maturity thing. It's an ego thing. I don't think anyone aims to be not good at designing. I don't think anyone aims at giving their students something that they can't achieve. But I just think it's a just not knowing, unfortunately. And I think that the passion is always there. Think about the billions of marching band and color guard and drumline kids we birthed into the world over the last several decades, and they're going to college and doing it, and then now they become future coaches and band directors. They have a passion for it. They want to be good at it. That's why I think these different symposiums and resources that are provided by our parent organizations are really great. We need to get the word out there to get those resources out to people too. But yes, just be better. I don't know.
Yeah. No, 100%.
So I'm going to jump in and do my what are we doing now, because it was kind of leading into that. What are we doing designing trauma shows? I cannot. I'm going to call some people out. I will say, I, like most of us, where we get most of our information from, trying to figure out what the listeners want to hear about. But people post shows, I'm doing this show and it's dealing with, teenage addiction or blah, blah, blah. Like, no one wants to see a show about that. No student wants to perform a show about that. Yes, we want kids to have a voice and do that, but no one wants to sit around and watch that. Like, you are making kids have to perform and understand things that they may not necessarily know. And I'm pretty sure that the people designing these shows are not mental health counselors to be able to understand it. Like, in my theater world, I was a victim of, I felt like every year for my competitive one-act show, I had to do like a sad tragedy show. And what I found was I, as a trained theater professional, was having to take kids to a place that was very dark. But then I also was having to bring those kids out of that place after every rehearsal, after every performance. And it was a lot of work. It was a lot of mental strain on the kids. So for color guard people who really only know 5, 6, 7, 8 and down, up, down, angle, flat, why are you trying to do a show that's going to cause more harm in kids than it is about pushing the activity forward? What are we doing?
Yeah, it's a great one. Something that I've thought along the same lines before is like, some of these shows don't need to be marching band shows. Like, we have movies for that, or we have books for that. Like, we don't need to do a marching band show about this idea. We can do something that's like more appropriate for this medium. I feel like everything you're saying about like subject matter can be the same way. You don't need to do shows that are dealing about like things that personal in nature. You could just like literally come up with any other show.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm the
Great job, everyone. Set your equipment down. Touch and go.
Well, Joey, why don't you get us started with Gush and Goes here? It seems like I'm feeling some Joey time right now.
Well, so the first thing I want to talk about is I have a really awesome opportunity this weekend. I get to judge the Wyoming State Marching Contest. It is held in an ice rink. It's 20-20. It's indoors. We're judging literally 10 feet away from spectators. It's going to be really cool. I can't wait to share how this all goes. But the really thing that I want to talk about is I want to gush and go about this freaking awesome interview we just had with Greg Mills from Taft High School. I mean, from what he did to raise $41,000 to what he plans to continue to do to keep putting the carrot in front of the kids, as he says, then just his absolute just knowledge on what it takes to be a band director these days. I left the conversation last night just I felt like a lot of things that I continue to talk about with band directors and what I hear from band directors all across the United States was I felt validated, I felt listened to, I felt heard, and I felt nearly almost supported. Like it felt like there's people in great places who are doing great things that are going through the same thing that I see these amazing band directors across the U.S. do. So, I mean, the conversation, I can't wait for everybody to listen to it, was just amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. I can't wait for the episode to come out so everyone can listen to it as well. But definitely sounds like everything that he does an inspiration to like how band directors all across the country could run their bands and how
Absolutely.
they can do all sorts of stuff to really make sure the students are going to have the best experience they can.
Yeah. I mean, Austin was there with me, and I mean, we were sitting there just tag teaming, like, okay, well, what did you do? How'd you do this? Or, well, how did this happen? And it's just his answers and how knowledgeable he was incredible. It was an awesome interview.
It was great. He's like a straight up businessman, like inside of the shell of a band director, and it's just the way that he described everything was just amazing. And you guys already heard it already, but just the way that he did everything was awesome. I was like, wow, this is phenomenal from top to bottom. He's just a really, really smart dude, like plain and simple.
Yeah, that's great. I can't wait for the episode to come out. That way, everyone else out here can go take a listen to it. It's a great interview that we got to be a part of here. Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
Bobbey, what's your gush and go this week?
So, kind of unrelated, but it's concerning so many people that participate in our activity. It was just National Coming Out Day, and in Philadelphia, Jeremy and I, along with many people who are tacitly connected to the marching arts, were involved with producing our what we are calling Our Fest, a National Coming Out Day parade and festival. So it was an amazing day, beautiful weather, went off sort of seamlessly. Andy Cohen was a special guest on our main stage speaking about getting the vote out. The legendary R&B singer Shanice stopped by to perform a couple of her hits. So we had an incredible parade that featured, for instance, the Philadelphia Freedom Band, we talked a lot about that during our Pride episode back in June, bands from all across the country that are LGBT Pride band groups. So we had our Philly local group. So it was a great day, a great weekend. And of course, so many people in our marching arts activity are in this community. So I thought it was worth gushing about.
Yeah, it's awesome. Is this the first year of our fest, or has this been going on for some time now?
Well, Outfest has been, or National Coming Out Day has been around for a number of years, a couple of decades, I imagine. There's been in at least Philly for several years an Outfest, but this is the second or third iteration of this specific team doing it with a parade. Yeah. And it's been pretty special and growing every year, and looking forward to future years.
Yeah, it's awesome. Congratulations to you both for putting on a good festival.
Thank you.
And Joey, we already went with Joey. Austin, have we done your gush and go yet?
No. Oh goodness, I am gushing and going about winter season coming up. Just because I'm really, really excited to step into the full realm of design, rather than just like teaching the kids and throwing my input here and there. Just doing the full design thing. I'm so excited about it. I've just got one group, focusing on them, doing my thing, going out and visiting them probably once a month, and then just hanging out and seeing what we can put together and piece together and make it great for them.
Nice. Well, good luck with getting all the designs together, man.
Ball's already rolling. I'm loving it so far. So
yeah, we'll look forward to hearing more about that as we move through these seasons. But Alicia, what do you want to gush and go on about?
I want to gush about the tiny bands that are just killing it right now. Like rural groups. I just recently got to see a few at a show this past weekend. A group of 20 members that, full design, full visuals, a show concept that made sense. The kids were bought into it, and they just played really, really well, and it was so impressive. But then the host school came out. They have 14 kids total in the entire program. They have 7 wind players, and I've seen the program for 15 years or so now, and they played so well and sounded so good. And it's just really, really cool to see these very tiny schools right now doing the thing really, really well. That host school would have been the grand champion of the show had they been competing.
Wow.
Hands down.
Wow, that's really impressive.
Yeah.
Where was this at? If you don't mind me asking.
No, this was in East Tennessee. So the well-designed school I bragged on is Oliver Springs High School, and the host school of that show was Harriman High School.
Gotcha. Yeah. That big area of Appalachia, especially into Kentucky, they do it so well. They just got a bunch of really established 1A programs, and then East Tennessee too. With the exception of Dobbins Bennett, of course, but a lot of
obviously.
But, don't get me wrong, they do great things too. But there's a lot of those really, really, really small schools up in there that do really, really well.
Yeah, and just see a group come out with seven members holding instruments and just play as well as groups that have 50, 60 members. It's so cool to see, and there are educators doing really great things there.
Yeah, that's pretty wild to imagine being in a 7-person marching band. It's I've been in 7-person bass lines.
That's crazy.
We were probably a little louder than the 7-person marching band, if I had to guess. But
we've got this band here in North Carolina, in Raleigh, North Carolina area. Words are hard, and they usually have about 20 wins and no color guard every year. They do their ballad every year as a soloist or a duet, and the entire band picks up flags and spins very well, by the way.
Yes.
Double swing flag.
I love that.
Yes.
And, yeah.
Okay, name drop the school.
Nightdale High School.
That's tough.
You would be surprised, Stephen, that small bands that have a history of being small are conditioned to put out more volume. So 20 kids that have always been 20 kids are conditioned to put out a bigger sound because they have to. So yes, your 7 bass drummers were probably pretty loud, but I guarantee you 20 band kids are I got to make up for the 7 other trumpets that aren't here.
Yeah.
It's like any wind ensemble, everyone on a part. Mm-hmm. There's no one else playing your part, and you have to carry it, and you have to do it well.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. Shout out to those bands. That's a totally different way to do marching band, but everyone's a soloist band. Wow.
Yep. That's like that Archbishop Alter group. Did we talk about them? They're consistently pretty incredible. They've got a wins group of 10 every year. It's pretty great.
Wow.
Yeah, and make BOA finals and stuff. They're awesome.
With 10 people, that's awesome.
Yeah, they're great.
All right. Well, Ricardo, what are you gushing and going on about this week?
Well, I have had a pretty big life move this week at the time of recording, but I have left the classroom, and now I am a school district administrator. I am the district visual and performing arts specialist.
Wow. Congrats.
Yeah, thanks. It's kind of a sad move because I'm going to miss being with my kids every day. But I was able to negotiate in my new contract, since this did happen after the school year got started, that I am able to retain my position as theater director and color guard director through the end of the school year. So after we finish the winter guard season, I will be done as the color guard director. And after we finish the spring musical, which is Hades Town this year, I will no longer be going back to that school every day, and I will be fulfilling my responsibilities of making all of our fine arts programs, visual and performing arts in the school district, top 10 programs.
Wow. That's so cool. That's awesome. Congratulations on the promotion there, but it's now your outreach and your net is bigger. You get to go spread the joy a lot farther.
I get to spread this love and light all over all the schools with thousands and thousands and thousands of kids.
And I think that this speaks to the importance, I believe, and I actually said this in a public meeting with principals about a year or so ago at my school. It speaks to the importance of fine arts and performing arts administrator positions. Some schools don't have that. I think it certainly maybe depends on the population of your school and therefore the population of the performing arts. But I think that every district needs a fine arts, performing arts person in district office, for sure.
Absolutely. There's got to be somebody that's advocating for our programs, because so often people think that the fine arts classes are the dump classes and, they're just going to have fun. They don't understand the actual importance of the education that happens and the talent that's being fostered in these kids. We're all products of fine arts programs in some sort of way, and we know how valuable that is. So there needs to be someone at the district level that is out there advocating for all kids to be able to get the opportunity to be exposed to the arts in some sort of way. So that's what I said in my interview, and I got the job.
Well, they have a fantastic advocate, your district's arts program, and you, Ricardo. So I'm excited to hear about all the great things you'll get up to over there.
Thanks, friend.
And I'll quick gush and go. We just set our baseline at United. I'm super excited. I'm trying to go really, really hard in like the right way with video assignments and like take that really seriously. But like I was saying earlier in the call, like also treat it a bit more like a college class, in the sense that like we're not just going to like do a drumming video. We're also going to like have book club, but the book is a video of Rhythm X's baseline in 2013 or something. Like we're going to discuss all these great lines that I think have like shaped what these kids are trying to be. And I don't know, I think it's really cool settling into my second year of doing this. I get to like really, really figure out like, what do I want to do to try to make the best baseline that I could in the world?
I think that's a really cool idea. And just the idea of getting them to look at different people in the idiom and take from greats in the idiom, I think is really neat. I'm going to use that at EVA this winter, just getting them more aware of things that have come before them, you know?
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate that.
It's called Gush and Go, not Gush and Stay. Let's go.
All right. Well, thank you for a great rehearsal this week. Thank you to our hosts, Austin, Bobbey, Joey, Ricardo, and Alicia. Where could they find you on social media or any place else they'd like to follow you?
Go follow me on TikTok. Alicia on TikTok 2, the number 2.
All right. And thank you to our guest clinicians, Greg Mills as well. You can follow their band at The Raider Band. And one more thing, don't forget we have our YouTube channel now, and it's got many of our interviews coming out as full video editions as well. Go and subscribe so you don't miss those. And before you close out of your podcast listening app, please go subscribe, write us a review, share this with a friend, and follow us on social media at On a Water Break. And we will see you at the next rehearsal on a water break.
And go practice.
The On a Water Break podcast was produced by Jeremy Williams and Christine Ream. The intro and outro music was produced by Josh Lyda. To learn more, visit lydamusic.com. And until next time, thanks for tuning in.